Alright, greetings everybody and welcome back. Now in the background you will hear a rather noisy boiler. No, not the wife. She's currently having a shower, I think, and hence the boiler, which just happens to be in my room, in my study. And I think it's on its way out, to be fair. I really do think that it's a bit knackered. So you'll hear that rumbling in the background until the water flow stops, that is. Just bear with me, guys. Yes. I just wanted to explain a few things and then go on to talk about the flat earth, etc. So you'll notice that I've posted a couple of things, a few videos recently that are not of type, if you like. Well, they are if you've followed me for the 13 years I've been on YouTube. You'll know that at one time I used to post nothing but this kind of stuff, but every now and again I'll inject it into this channel to remind people that this kind of phenomena, this kind of activity, this information is out there and people need to know about it. I don't expect people to absorb themselves in it or become a Rosicrucian or study the grimoires, etc. You just need to know that they're there and what these people believe, right? What their fundamental beliefs are, what their doctrines are, how they live their lives, what they believe, right, guys? Because you'll come across this kind of stuff all the time. You know, when people say, oh, the Georgia Guidestones were built by the Rosicrucians, you'll think, who the hell are the Rosicrucians? What the hell do they do? Well, you need to know that they are connected, related to Freemasonry and to the Golden Dawn, right, and all that kind of stuff. But you need to understand what those people also believe and practice, why, etc., etc. Try and understand the symbology and the meanings behind things. Buy their books. Self-initiate yourself into the Golden Dawn. Right? You think you can't do that? Yeah, you can. There's a really fantastic book, and I can't see it because it must be upstairs. But it's a very good read. Yeah, you don't have to do it. You don't have to become a member of the Golden Dawn, but you'll understand so much more about the Kabbalah, about the Hebrew language, and so forth. Because all this stuff, guys, is key. It's fundamental. You must get your head around it because it plays such a pivotal role in a lot of the subjects that we talk about. Right, guys? That's why I post it. You see. Now, the Grimorium Verum that I put up there is, as Scream pointed out, it's not the only version out there, right? There are other translations of it and other versions of it. I didn't put it up there for you to study it, guys. Just basically, if you just listen to 10 minutes of it and then do a little bit of reading on it, right? Scream's posted a PDF of a similar copy where there's pretty pictures in it and a bit of description, and you'll get some idea of what these people believe, and you know, it's creative power of the mind, the thought process, the will, and all that kind of stuff, right? Meditation. I also posted the astral plane, its scenery, inhabitants. Right, this is a great read because you have to understand something, guys, that if you think this is it, if you think this life is all there is, then you're deluded. There is other worlds and other lives, guys. You've got to understand that. That's just a fucking fact. Never think anything other than that. Right? That is a plain fact. When you die, you know, the bit that makes up you, right? People call it the soul, if you like, the life force. That continues on, guys. Never dies. Simply takes on another form, closely matching this particular form, but made of another substance, and your memory and so forth continues on, right? And there are different realms of existence, different planes of existence, right? Different lives beyond and aside of this. And there are many spirits, ghosts people call them, that inhabit this place alongside us, share this area with us, right? And you can relate to them, you can contact them, you can communicate with them, and people think it's all rubbish and hogwash because they've been brainwashed since birth. That's what the establishment is good at, is convincing you that none of this stuff is real. Well, to hell with that, because it is real, and you have to understand that, because what that does is that understanding changes the way that you view this reality and your own life. It makes you look at your own life. What the hell am I doing here? Should I behave differently? Right? Am I here for a purpose? Am I being judged whilst I'm here? Etc. Right? Now the Rosicrucian mysteries, again, you don't have to become a Rosicrucian, guys. It's not what I'm saying. Just understand that they exist, and understand what they believe, what they practice, how they practice it, why they practice it. Right, guys? Because if you connect this organisation, this, I wouldn't call it a secret society. It's probably an esoteric study group. But if you connect them to the Georgia Guidestones, and ultimately with Freemasonry, the Golden Dawn, internationalists, globalists, and the Illuminati, right? Because they all read off the same sheet. They all read out of the same hymn book, guys. Right? You'll understand the importance of why you need to understand how, why, etc. about these various organisations, groups, and secret societies. So when you hear it mentioned in the future, you'll say, "Oh yeah, I know what they are. I know what they believe." Right, guys? That's why I do it. Because so many people don't even know what a Rosicrucian is. I would suggest that most people have never heard of Rosicrucianism. Right? And Bill Cooper used to say that you have to read all this stuff. You have to know how the other side tick. You see, so many Christians they'd see that and say, "Oh no, I can't read that. Oh no, that's a sin. You know, I can't expose myself to such devil worship, such satanic paraphernalia. Oh no." You see, that's why they go through life ignorant, unaware of all this stuff. It's painful, guys. Very, very painful. You have to understand it. You have to know it exists and have a really kind of brief understanding of it. It helps. So, let's move on. So, she's been at it again. The woman that posts the videos about how to deal with narcissistic behaviour and people. For the third time on her third video about narcissism. I'll just leave you to ponder on the irony of that. The views have been halved, so they start off at 1,141 and end up half of that by the end of the day. I don't know how that can happen. And not only that, but once again the ratings, the negative down thumbing, has again had something like 80 removed from it, because at one point in the day the down thumbs were more than the up thumbs, and then it took about 8 hours or something for this YouTube fairy to arrive, wave its wand and remove 80 from that total, and make it seem rather narcissistically that she's very popular, or more popular than she was earlier in the day. Don't you think that that is narcissistic behaviour? Because what we're told, by the way, the official excuse of why this is happening is that there is a YouTube algorithm that figures out if a single IP address with multiple YouTube channels is using those channels to thumb down a single video. So for example, if I've got 10 channels, I haven't, but if I had, and I use those 10 channels to thumb down Patricia Steers' video, the algorithm later in the day, when it's had its lunch and had time to have a little nap and get its pen and pencil out, it will figure out that 9 of those need to be removed. That's the official excuse of what's going off. That's what I've been told. The trouble with that, guys, is on a single IP address you can have, you know, in one house you can have Father, Son, Holy Ghost. You know, you can have more than one person in a house with a YouTube channel, one about baking, you know, one about truck driving, one about the flat earth, etc. And they're all entitled to visit Patricia Steers' video and thumb it down. You know, YouTube can't say, no, only the Father, only one of you can go and thumb that video down. We're going to remove all the rest because it's not fair. If that's the case, by the way, she's the only person that it happens to. I've been on YouTube a long time, guys. I've never seen anything like that. Never. And what was his name? The guy from Florida with his channel, That Guy. Remember him? He got 2,000 thumbs down in 3 hours. And that just went up, guys. At no point were any thumbs down removed by the benevolent YouTube algorithmic fairy. They just went up and up and up and up and up. And that was cyberbullying and harassment, and was reported as such, and nothing was done. Not a damn thing. Because there ain't no YouTube fairy to bail anybody out. And how the hell anybody's views, right? How the hell the view count can half? How can that happen? I mean, is this the same fairy that says, no, you can only visit the video once. If you visit the video and then you log out and go to the shop, come back in, come back home, log back in, it won't count that, or it will count it, but then later in the day it'll figure out that that's what you've done, and it'll take that view. I mean, what utter crap. And Vince Rocklover and I did a little experiment where we kept logging in, and it just stayed there, guys. You can log in as many times as you want and it will record the view. And it's like we're expected to believe that YouTube, the algorithms on YouTube, are somehow retarded and need 8 to 10 hours to figure out what they're doing and correct stuff. That's bullshit, guys. I don't believe it. And you know, it's funny that the view count halves at the same time that the negative thumbing is altered, reduced. The two things seem to happen at the same time, like they can't mess with one without messing with the other. And let me just reiterate, guys, she's the only person that it happens to. I've not seen that anywhere else, and I'm looking. I've got my eye on, you know, several different channels that I suspect are up to no good. But she's certainly being aided, abetted and assisted by something or someone. Didn't Sargent at one time say that he could change the ratings if he wanted to? I'm sure he didn't mean by thumbing up and thumbing down either. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that to your attention, because I'm filming all this. Every time she posts, I film the whole thing. I keep refreshing the page, and I spend time doing it, and I'm logging it all. I'm making videos, I'm keeping it. Because there's something not right about it, guys. And, you know, the followers of this person need to understand that there's something not right about it. It's disingenuous. And you've got to put your head in your hands at the irony of all this. This is a person making videos about narcissism. I'm beginning to wonder whether she even knows what narcissistic behaviour is, in all its forms. Sitting like a prima donna in front of the camera with all this face furniture on and a hair that covers the join, and, you know, and pouting the big lips and fluttering the eyelashes and flicking the hair, and, oh, hello everybody, are you all with me? And all the men are stood there with, you know, Percy pointing at the ceiling. I mean, what the hell? I mean, it's just glare. It's staring you in the face. And this narc-away thing, as Vince quite rightly pointed out, you know, is an attack upon what amounts to, in most cases, a perfectly normal relationship between two people who come from different backgrounds. I mean, nobody's condoning violence. I mean, let me say right from the off that if you're in a violent relationship, then get the hell out of it. You know, nobody, no man or woman should ever lift their hands to another person. So I'm not condoning that, but you know, the way that I'm hearing this is that, you know, when people make unreasonable demands, for example, get the hell out of the marriage, you know. And I think people need to understand about the 7-year itch. You know, the idea of that period, it's not always 7 years, but over time it was figured that, you know, if you'd not got your act together in that kind of period, then the marriage wouldn't work. You know, you'd run off with another woman, or just leave that woman and be single, or, you know, whatever. So there is a period within every marriage where these two strangers that have met and gone through a courtship from totally different backgrounds, right? They've got totally different values, probably a different education, different views and opinions. They might agree on some things, right? But they're from different fucking backgrounds, guys, right? And the biggest single influence on anybody's life is their parents. Doubt it not, right? So you've got different parents, so you're gonna be two different people, right? And they're brought together under one roof, and they're expected to work like a well-oiled machine. Well, it's not like that, and anybody who's married will know that. Anybody who has remained married will know how difficult it is to remain married, right, guys? Because of that period where, you know, you literally have to knock the sharp edges off each other. And I don't mean physically. I mean, you need to. It's almost like a contract where it's like a business dealing where you have to agree to certain things. You have to agree to stop doing certain things, or stop saying certain things, or stop going certain places. And you do this for your partner, and your partner does the same for you. That's not narcissistic behaviour. You know, demanding that your partner does certain things in order to save the marriage. That is not narcissistic behaviour, because those things that you're expecting from this person could very well be unpalatable and, you know, counterproductive to this relationship. And we're all guilty of that. Everybody's guilty of bringing baggage into a marriage, right? And the partner has an absolute right to say, I don't like that. Don't do that. You see, we watched, my wife and I watched a lot of our friends get married and then get divorced because they just couldn't make it work, because they couldn't wrap their head around that there is give and take, right? It's not all take on both sides, right? And what somebody else calls an unreasonable demand, the person making it will think it's perfectly reasonable. It doesn't make them a narcissist. It means that if she doesn't stop doing that, I'm out the fucking door. If you want this marriage to work, you need to fucking stop doing that. You need to stop going here on a Friday night and getting hammered and come home. Things like that. That's not narcissistic, right? It's like the place of men in this country is gradually being eroded away. The place of the husband and the father in a family is gradually being diminished. No, the father is the king of the castle. He's the one in the house that the kids should look up to. Yeah, they look up to their mother. Girls look up to their mother. But, you know, this is where we've gone wrong, guys. Do you remember a program called Are You Smarter Than a 10-Year-Old? Remember that? Where they wheeled on these guys, you know, the local butcher and the guy who works down the mine and in the steelworks and whatever. And they say to him, now then, Mr. Smith, can you tell me what's the capital of Chile? And he's thinking, how the fuck do I know? I don't fucking care. You know, why would a miner I mean, he might know, he might fucking remember it from school, right? But how would a miner know? Or a steel worker? Do we expect them, really, to know stuff like that? You know, ask him a question about politics, or, you know, about his job, or something more down to earth. You know, the chances are he's probably going to be able to tell you. The guy's probably about 40, 45. So, of course, he doesn't know. And then they wheel on a 10-year-old, often a black girl, who gives the right answer, right? And everybody goes, yay, yay, you're not smarter than a 10-year-old. And I knew at the time when this program was on, this is making men look fucking stupid. This is making husbands look stupid and fathers look stupid. The role of the father is gradually being eroded away and replaced by, hey, the state knows more than your father. Even a 10-year-old knows more than your father. He's a fucking dummy. We've got to be careful, guys, with this kind of stuff. That this is eating away at family values. I'm not talking about marriage, right? A marriage to me is a legal contract. It has become a legal contract where there are 3 parties in it. If you don't believe me, try getting divorced without involving the other party, the state. Right? So I'm not talking about marriage, but I'm talking about, you know, a family, a partnership. Some people never get married and they live together 50, 60 years. I mean, what's a marriage? I mean, if you're not into religion, and I'm not into religion, if you don't trust the church, and I don't, because I know what it's all about, why would I go to them and say, please help me marry my wife? Do you think God really cares about that? I mean, if I don't trust the church and I think that they're underhanded and cheating and lying about so many things, and they know what the truth is, but they just don't tell you, right? What do you think God thinks about them? What do you think God thinks about these hypocrites? Why would I, you know? I mean, I was married in what's called a registry office. I didn't go to church. And it cost me precisely £90 all those years ago. And that included the lunch after. Such a cheapskate. Right? But nevertheless, you know, we've got to be very careful. The husbands are now being depicted as narcissists if they make certain demands or raise their voice in the home. I mean, what marriage hasn't suffered from rows and slamming doors and sulking and things like that? All people go through it. All people. And you have this cooling off period. This is what the 7-year itch is, where you take that time to literally become 2 pieces of jigsaw that fit together. When you first meet, you're rough, shorn pieces of jigsaw. You don't actually fit. You've got to really force the pieces in, and they're bending and twisting, right? That's what you've got to correct, and it takes time. You don't just change overnight. It's a process, and it requires work and dedication, and the whole thing has to be built upon love. If the marriage, the foundations of this relationship, this marriage, is not built upon love, then it will never work. Believe me. Doesn't matter how much commitment you personally put into it, you won't be happy. You have to love each other first. That's what every marriage is built upon, and then you go from there. If you've got that, then you can fight your way through any issues, problems, guys. But you know, I've had countless rows with my wife over the years. You know, I'm surprised the doors are still hanging on the fucking hinges in this house. Yeah, I mean, you know. But now we're old, or older. It doesn't happen anymore. You know, we don't really row anymore. You know, we're well long past the point. You know, I tend to, if there's any problem, I'll tend to sulk and go out for a walk. and by the time I come back I've forgotten all about it, she's forgotten all about it, and everything's back to normal again. We've realised this, what's the point, you know. And the thing is that even when people are, you know, are married for 60, 70 years or whatever it is, you know, they don't turn into one person. They just learn to live with each other. And to do that, guys, you have to give up stuff. You know, you have to sacrifice certain things. That's not narcissistic to expect that of somebody. That's how marriages work. That's how relationships work, guys. And let me reiterate, violence of any kind in the home towards one another is shocking. It's terrible. And it needs to be outlawed. And if you're in a violent relationship, then you must get out of it. Now, today. There is never any excuse for violence or the threat of it. Right? And I don't include in that the slamming of the door on the way to work. Right? Because I think everybody goes through these tantrums and whatnot. Everybody's the same. That's just human nature. Right, guys. So I wouldn't put too much credibility on all this narc away stuff. It's just another attempt to erode away at normal, healthy relationships, and ultimately the family values, guys. Yeah, but she, like a lot of the others, I remember, literally fell out of the fucking sky. Didn't you think during that period, what, are we going back 5 or 6 years or something, didn't these people just fall out of the sky? I remember mentioning it at the time. I mean, I made videos about how these people had just suddenly appeared with all singing, all dancing, studio setups with expensive microphones and these props on the wall, guitars on the wall. Have you noticed how many of these people have got guitars? You notice that Conspiracy Cats has got one, has got guitars. And I've been looking at the atheistical channels and, you know, the scientism high priest and so forth, and it's amazing how many people have these props on the wall behind them, right? But you never hear them play the guitars. See, being a guitarist myself, I see these guitars and think, oh yeah, I wonder what make they are, and I try and see what make they are, and I think, I wonder what they play on it. You know, because I'm curious, because I'm interested. But you never see them play guitar. They're just props, guys, aren't they? For these people. It's like they've got these studio setups where they go to carry out their agenda, to carry out their role. These fucking imposters. These shill imposters. But they did just fall out of the fucking sky, guys. People like Jesuitism and whatnot. Where the hell did he come from? Where did any of these people come from? And they all seemed to be prepared. They all had the facts, figures, statistics. And meanwhile, everybody else is going, flat? Flat? What do you mean, flat? Right? So, for us, it was a gradual evolution into the subject of going. I personally went and carried out experiments across the Humber, and I'm going to go back and do that again, by the way. It's just a matter of convincing the wife to come with me, because well, it's quite a journey for us. And in this season, it's extremely cold. You're right out in the open there, exposed to the wind coming in off the sea and whatnot. It's very, very cold, guys. And whilst I'll do it, you know, because for the love of the truth I'll do it, but you can't expect your partner to do it. Or perhaps I can, because, hey, I could say, you're coming with me, bitch. Being the narcissist I am. Oh boy, what a load of fucking bullshit that is. Right, but I have to kind of persuade her that she needs to come with me. And but she'll come if I ask her. I just don't. I know for a fact, if I said to her, are we going to Spurn Point today? I need to do a bit of an experiment. She'd say straight away, yeah, of course. But I know her. I've been with her so long. I know her that she'll say that just to keep me happy. Do you know what I mean? She'll go along for the ride. But I know she'd rather do other things, which is very, very sweet of her. So I've learnt not to ask her if I think she'll say yes instead of no. I don't want her to go to please me. I want her to go because she wants to go, or I'll go on my own. So we'll have to wait and see. Perhaps I'll do it this week at some point. But I've done experiments, guys, and it was a gradual evolution for me. I didn't just fall straight into it. I didn't think, oh yeah, okay, then I believe everything. I still don't believe everything. And I went, a bit like Vince, I went through the concave earth. You know, I looked at that for a little while because I was mesmerised, like most people are, by this incredible model that this Jesuit Fruit Loop obviously didn't come up with himself. He was obviously given the model. There's no way that he had the intellect or intelligence to come up with anything remotely like that. The guy's a spasticated mongoloid. But once you ditch that and you start looking around, you see, we woke up. The problem they've got, guys, is we woke up on 9/11, and having come out of the shock phase, right, you think, my God, I can't believe that a government with the aid of the intelligence agencies and parts of the military would carry out such a heinous crime, right? And then you start thinking, well, if they're capable of that, what else have they done? Then you look at the, you know, the attack upon the Liberty and the Gulf of Tonkin hoax, and you think, well, they you know, these people really are capable of fooling the American people en masse and taking us to war as a result, ending in the deaths of millions. These people are thoroughly fucking wicked. So what else are they doing? And then you start looking around and think, you know, you realise that there are no pictures of the Earth. The blue marble is simply a contrived picture made up of strips of images sewn together and wrapped around a sphere. Really? You mean we haven't been up high enough to take a picture of our beautiful blue marble as they tell us it is? Well, no. Or they may have been high enough, but they've looked down and thought, oops, oh dear, we don't live on a ball. Oh shit, what are we going to do now? Right, so people realise that NASA are a bunch of lying assholes and we can't trust them. They start looking at the Hollow hoax and realise that the 6 million figure is just a Kabbalistic number pulled out of their fucking Kabbalistic sphincter, that there were no gas chambers and so forth. And you think, if they can lie about that, something of that magnitude, you know, it's terrible, guys, really. And I think what's happened is, because people say the flat earth is a psyop, and at first I denied it. I thought, nah, I can't. Well, why would they? And then, with the benefit of hindsight, which is always great, I thought, you know what? I bet it's a psyop. But for this reason, I think that they realised that the people that woke up on 9/11, the half that woke up, the other half are still asleep, guys, right? And they're all around us, aren't they? The half that woke up, they realised would soon stumble upon this heliocentric scam, right? And if they stumbled across it themselves, they would evolve gradually, getting the evidence, figuring out the model, and so forth, and they'd be in real trouble. So I think they decided, look, let's just tell them what it is, right? Because if you look at the Orlando Ferguson model, it's not flat, but it is flat. Do you know what I mean? It's on a flat surface, but it looks like it's curved as well, right? If you look at that last video I posted. So they'll tell you it's flat, when in actual fact it might not be flat. It might just be on the flat part of this oblate spheroid, but the surface itself is not flat, right? Is not level. That's a possibility, guys. Don't discount it, right? But the overall idea under the dome, it is a flat object under the dome, right? That's one possibility. So I think that they decided to release it out there and at the same time piss on it. So get idiots to release it, people that are going to make it look fucking stupid, right? People like Mark Sargent. Have you heard him being interviewed, by the way? If you haven't, look up as many Mark Sargent interviews as you can. And I know it's I shouldn't really ask you to do this, but do yourself a favour and listen to this guy being interviewed and listen to the answers he gives. You know, you want to put your hand through the screen and put them around his throat and squeeze The guy's a fucking idiot. The answers he gives to these people that are asking questions, there's one where he's being interviewed by this young, impressionable girl, and the answers he gives, it's fucking lunacy. There's no wonder people think the idea is fucking lunacy, guys, when they listen to people like Mark Sargent. The guy's definitely a disinformationist, a misinformationist, and a fucking tool. Make no mistake about it, guys. He's done more damage to this subject probably than anybody else. And the problem is they mix up some truths, some stuff that makes sense, with a whole lot of shit, for want of a better word. Bullshit, guys. Rubbish. And that's the whole idea, is to make it look fucking stupid. Because the people sat in the neutral corner, they're never going to come across it. They're never even going to look at it, guys. They're going to listen to somebody like Mark Sargent and think, this guy's a fucking lunatic. I'm not even going to look at that subject anymore. Right? Then what they do is, when they've released the fact that it's actually flat, whilst gradually destroying it, like a, internal flesh-eating cancer, like this Steer and fucking Sargent and the rest of them, right? Then what they do is, they then identify the people that believe it, and identify them with other conspiracies, the conspiracies that they really do want to quash, right? Like the Holocaust bullshine, the hoaxed moon landings. I mean, anybody who thinks we landed on the moon is fucking delusional. Have you seen the images and the film footage? I mean, how can you? Just scrutinise that lot and you'll realise they're all a load of fucking fakes, right? So they don't want you looking at that. They don't want you realising that. They don't want you looking at Sandy Hook and Boston and 9/11. 9/11, you see, is a biggie. That's when people's eyes were opened. Oh boy. And then there's attacks upon London on the 7th of July 2005, with 52 people dying on the subway train. So that's 7777 if you haven't fucking figured it out. There's nothing more Kabbalistic than that, right? Then there's these fake terrorist attacks all over Europe and around the world. There's the fact that ISIS are in fact not Muslims at all. They're just Arab mercenaries employed to kill Muslims. The Muslims that are going to pose a threat to Allied forces in the future that are in that area attacking Iran. Get it, guys? They don't want to be attacked in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria by real Muslims. ISIS are not real Muslims, guys. They're fucking Israeli-led mercenaries, Arab mercenaries, guys. That's all they are. They don't want you realising that, you see. There's a lot of things they don't want you waking up to. So what they do is they put out this ridiculous image of the flat earth and they mock it and they make it sound fucking ridiculous, and all the evidence they give is out of this world. It's just fucking balmy, right? And then they connect that and you as a lunatic to all this other stuff, you see. Then what they do is they wrap it all up with gaffer tape and throw the whole lot, and you included, in file 13. They dispose of the whole lot together. It's a bit like the thing where they try and encourage everybody to get off YouTube. Get off YouTube, everybody, because it's, you might as well get off now before they throw you off, and go to BitChute or whatever it is, right? And of course what will happen with BitChute is eventually, when everybody's moved over there lock, stock and two smoking barrels, taking all their videos and all their hard work over to BitChute, and they're all safely ensconced over there and thinking they can say and do what they like and they can post any videos they like and so forth. Well, I mean, they'll just pull the plug, right? The government or whatever will just pull the plug on BitChute, and everybody over there will go down the plug hole. All their videos, all their hard work, and that's it. So they've finally got rid of everybody they want off YouTube, put them all in one place, standing on a trapdoor, and then just pull the trapdoor lever and everybody disappears into the fucking abyss. That's the plan. Right, guys? So I don't trust these people, especially people that are asking for money. Remember when Jesuit was asking for money for a laser and a fucking telescope? I mean, what next? Please give me money so I can go to the Caribbean with my wife, because apparently the water's flatter there. I promise I won't enjoy myself. I promise there won't be 1 minute of sunbathing or swimming. I definitely will spend all the 2 weeks doing experiments to prove the world's flat. Just hand over your money so that the wife and I can go to the Caribbean for a fortnight. And I promise to come back with all the evidence. Anybody who asks for money, guys, with GoFundMe or Patreon accounts or whatever, then I don't have anything to do with them, guys. I dismiss them instantly, I block them, and I don't follow what they do. I'm not interested, because once you inject money into it, guys, then you can be bought. You can be swayed. That's why people flip-flop between flat and ball. That's why you get people saying, well, I used to be a flat earther, but now I'm a ball earther. They're just following the money. That's what they're doing. These high priests of scientism and high priests of the flat earth are making mega bucks. Hundreds and even thousands of dollars a month pushing this stuff. Whereas the real, genuine, truth-seeking community aren't making a fucking dime, because they're not doing it for money. And they're the ones that's coming under the most pressure, the most attack. They're the ones that get their channels fucking closed down. And they don't make a penny out of it. They're doing it for the love of the truth, or the love of getting to the truth. And one final thing, shills and trolls. I often hear people called trolls when they're in fact they're shills. And, you know, Vicky Verka, right? So, to give you some examples, shills and trolls, by the way, have something in common. And I'll tell you what it is. But if you take Simon Dan, for example, he's the shill. So there are not many shills out there. Not everybody's a shill. There are not many of them, right? But you don't need many. If each shill we're talking about has half a dozen channels, let's say there's 6 shills with half a dozen channels, that's 36 channels on your back. And if they've all got thousands of subscribers, you know, you've got a lot of people that are going to gang stalk you, right? And that's what's been happening. There doesn't need to be many. They just need to have a lot of channels and a lot of followers and a lot of money, right? And they can make life very difficult for you. Particularly when YouTube are on side, which they are. Make no mistake about it, guys. YouTube don't touch any of these people. People like Simon Dan and Where's Wally, they can produce video after video after video showing people, showing their image, showing their face, and they cut and paste it and put it on a fucking cartoon body, and they poke fun at it and whatnot. That is cyberbullying. That is harassment. Not only that, they make no secret of it, they send their subscriber prostitutes over to this guy's channel, to these particular videos, and tell them to attack it. That's cyberbullying, guys. YouTube do nothing about it. I post one video, by the way, one video that rips the piss out of Fight the Flat Earth, that fucking Craig McDaniel idiot, and within 1 hour, less than an hour, he's taken down and I get a strike. They don't like a bit of their own medicine, you see. They do it every day. I do it once and I get a video taken down. That's why I'm over on this channel now. I've left the other channel alone. I won't post on the other channel anymore. That will stay stagnant as it is. It'll stay there, but it won't be moved. But I won't add to it. Right. So the high priests are the shills. The trolls are the prostitute subscriber base. The ones that go over to people's videos and go, Simon Dan sent me. The expert sent me. Where's Wally sent me? I'm here because Where's Wally sent me. Or thank you, Where's Wally, for sending me over here. And it's really pathetic. It's pathetic. If you're one of these prostitutes, you're fucking pathetic. You're a doll's head. You're a mongoloid. You're a fucking spastic. Get a fucking life. Get your own life. Make your own mind up about what's right and what's wrong. Stop following these people. But of course they love it. That's why they're trolls. They love it. They love the chase. They love the insults. They love the put-downs. And the problem is, there's nothing that you can do, because if you go and visit their channels, they don't have any videos. You can't visit their videos and thumb their videos down and leave them dog shit comments, because they don't have any. They just have blank channels that they operate from. This is the problem we've got, is that YouTube allow anybody to open a channel. You just need an email address and you can have as many channels as you want. And they then use them, they weaponize them channels to bully people on YouTube. That's what they do. And YouTube allow it. There is nothing in place. You see, I've always said, guys, if you look back at videos I posted years ago, you'll see I've said all along that, you know, before you are allowed to comment, right, you must post your own work. You must post at least, let's say, half a dozen videos, and you must have held a channel for at least 6 months before you can comment. In other words, you must observe, watch, post your own work. You can comment on your own videos only. You can't post on anybody else's, right? But you must post your own videos, at least 6. They must be of a minimum length of, let's say, 15 minutes or something like that. And there must be like a cooling off period of 6 months before you allow. Because what happens, guys, is somebody will just create a channel now, and within 5 minutes they're up and running on YouTube. They don't care about having a proper channel or a name or an icon or a background or anything like that. They just want to get in there and dish fucking dog shit around. And I think it's disgusting. You know, when it comes to name your channel, they just brush their fingers across the keyboard, icky vicky wicka dong, and that's it. That's the name of the channel, and they just put a couple of numbers on the end, and that's that. John 1, John 2, John 3. They don't care. There's no effort gone into it, no subscribers, no friends, no uploads, nothing. No history, nothing. And then off they go then on their mission to launch hatred, venom, filth, and attacks upon anybody they don't like, despite contributing nothing themselves. And YouTube, by the way, that is a catastrophic error by YouTube, and that that and other things, but that's a major part in why YouTube has gone down the fucking plug hole. It's gone down the drain, guys, because of that. That's why there's so much hatred on YouTube, because of people like that. It's not because of people like us. It's these floating trolls that are causing a lot of the problems, and people like Simon Dan and others, these high priests, they buy these people and they capitalize using these people. You know, they attract these people in, and then they use them like an army. They wave their wand in a particular direction and off they all go. All these idiots with blank channels and big mouths. You know, if you met them in the street, they wouldn't say anything to you. But they're great, they're big, tough and strong on fucking YouTube. But it is what it is, guys. We just have to keep putting our best foot forward and doing what we do, and try to ignore all the bullshit. Okay, guys, so I did say that I would tell you the things that trolls and shills have in common. It's simply this, that neither care about what you have to say, but for different reasons, right? So the shill, he doesn't care what you have to say. He's not interested in looking at your evidence or listening to your arguments, right? They don't watch your videos, they don't listen to what you have to say. I mean, well, they listen but they don't hear, and they watch but they don't see. You see the difference between those things? So basically they turn your video on and your voice is just in the background. They're not listening, because they're tuned out and they're typing. They're down in the comment section, this is a load of shit, this guy's a fucking moron, hope he doesn't have kids, etc. Right? That's what they do. And the other thing is that with shills, you have to remember is that 9 times out of 10 they know that what you're saying is true, or mostly true, or half true, right? They know, right? Because they're not there on principle. They're not there because they care about whether the earth is flat or round. They don't care whether you think it's flat or round. That's the last thing they care about, right? They're there because they're paid to be there, or because they, you know, they have a bee in their bonnet about something, or they're making lots of money out of it, and it's probably a bit of all three, right? But ultimately they don't really care. They're not listening, and they're not hearing what you're saying. So and of course they know, as I say, most of them know that you're telling the truth. It's just that their job is to persuade you that you're not, that you've got it wrong, and to persuade people watching your videos that you're wrong, and so forth, right? They've got an agenda, in other words, you see. So don't waste your time with them, block them, remove their comments and so forth. Don't give them a stage on which to perform. It's just as simple as that. Don't give them an audience, guys. They don't deserve it. Paint them into a corner and fuck them off. That's what they do with us, right? Because you know, they have the numbers, all these prostitute subscribers they have, thousands of them. They have these, and they, as I say, order them around, right? And the troll is similar in that he simply doesn't care what you're saying. He doesn't care one way or the other. He's in it for the fight. He's in it for the enjoyment of throwing insults around, smearing dog shit over your comment section. You know, he doesn't know anything about the subject generally, or knows very little. You know, he stumbled across this thing and thinks, oh yeah, oh, you think it's flat, do you? Oh, you're a fucking moron then. But he's not interested in what you have to say about it. He doesn't consider your arguments. He's not interested. His personality type, his traits indicate that he's aggressive and he wants to get in there and have a fight. It doesn't matter whether you might be right or not. To him, if it sounds daft, if it sounds silly, then he's going to want to punch you in the face, because a lot of these people are extremely aggressive. I mean, have you noticed that? Right? See, when I get aggressive, I do tongue-in-cheek. I do it to take the piss generally. But when you, some of the things that these people write, guys, it's fucking breathtakingly violent, you know. But understand that they don't care what you think. They don't know enough about the subject to care. And again, don't waste your time with them. Don't try ever, guys, to defend your corner. Do what I do. Put the message out there and just leave it. Don't try and defend it. Just leave it out there, because ultimately this is about putting information out there for people to take, watch, listen and consider, and go away and research it and do their own. It's not for me to engage in battle over. I can only put the information that I've come across myself. I can only pass it on to you. I can consider it myself. I can carry out my own experience and so forth, right? But ultimately, it's up to you what you make of it. It's no point in fighting me over it, right? Because I'm in the same boat as everybody else, right? So I don't get involved. If anybody comes onto the channel and into the comment section leaving silly comments, I mean, one guy the other day said something like pure garbage or something under the video about the grimoire, the Grimorium Verum video. He just put pure garbage. The video had only been up fucking 10 minutes. I thought, there's no way he's listened to it. But it's one of these people, and by the way, this guy's a flat earther and a conspiracy theorist. He's one of these people that comes on there and already made his mind up, because it makes no sense to him, and it's got funny symbols in it and silly words in it, and it's, you know, it all sounds like something out of a kid's magic book. Because he doesn't understand, he doesn't know what it is, hasn't bothered to research it. As far as he's concerned, he just says pure garbage and throws it in the bin and never ever looks at it again, right? Well, this is imbecilic behaviour. You're a fucking imbecile if you behave like that. Consider everything, guys, but use discernment, guys. You know, the problem is, you know, there's some good people out there, but they're unable to separate facts, figures, information. You know, they pigeonhole everything in one pigeonhole. They don't look at something, they don't look at a video and say, I don't like that, but I like that. They say, I don't like that, I'm turning it off. Never, I'm going to unsubscribe from him. I'm never going to watch anything like that again. I'm never going to listen to that. You know, they're unable to separate stuff out as good, bad, true, false. You know, this is about cherry picking what's right and what's wrong, guys. Nobody can be 100% right. Nobody. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So many people do that. Think, guys, think. It's like the Tommy Robinson things. I've lost friends and subscribers because I detest Tommy Robinson. You see, by rights I should like him. Why? Because I don't really have any time for Muslims, and I'm against immigration. So I could do with these people removing from Britain, please. So by rights, isn't that what he's saying, that these people are a menace and right? So by rights I should think, well, yeah, Tommy Robinson, he doesn't like them, but his agenda is different to mine. I know what his agenda is. I know who's funding him, who's paying him, right? And when he says we should align with Israel because they don't like Muslims either, that kind of thing, right? That's just fucking dumb. But so many people agree and walk around the streets of Britain waving an Israeli flag. That's how fucking stupid they are, right? And I've lost good subscribers because of this difference of opinion. Because they don't like Muslims, they align themselves with Tommy Robinson. That's a mistake. Just because you don't like the teachings of Islam, just because you think they might be too extreme, you know, or whatever. Basically, that's because you don't understand it. That's the first thing. But even set that aside, right? That doesn't mean you have to align with somebody like Tommy Robinson, right? You have to separate the two things. So separate your dislike of Islam from your apparent liking of Robinson. Look at Robinson as a single entity. Look at his history. Listen to what he says. It's that you need to get your head around, not his dislike of Islam. You have to understand why he doesn't like Islam. Who's paying him to say that? Whose money is he taking? What's the overall agenda that they're trying to bring about? That's what you got to get your head around, not the fact that he agrees with you with regards to Islam. He probably agrees with you about boiled eggs. He probably likes boiled eggs. Does that mean you have to like him? Right? Guys, discernment. Think. Don't throw everything away. Consider. Carefully consider. The stuff I've learned over the years, guys, at the time when I'm learning it, I'm thinking, really, I would have never have known that. You learn, guys, as you go through life. You learn. You never stop learning. You never stop flowering and evolving. Never. Just when you think you understand something, something else crops up and adds to it. Ah, okay, so that's what that means. Right, I've got it now, okay. Right, so you're evolving all the time. Anybody who thinks he knows everything, guys, is fucking delusional. You don't know anything. But you must consider everything. So many people won't consider everything. They look at someone and think, no, that's daft. No, that's wrong. And they immediately just dispense with it. Well, then you're an idiot if you do that. Consider it, then dispense with it if you want. You see? And you don't have to agree with everything that somebody says. You know, you don't have to fall out with somebody because you don't agree with them. You just need to be generally on the same side, wanting the same outcome. How you get there, does that matter? If he wants to walk on that path over there and I'll walk on this path here, it doesn't matter, because soon the two paths are going to merge. We're going to end up at the same place. We're just walking in different paths, which is what I expect. Everybody's doing that because we're all different. We've all got different influences. We've all been exposed to different information. That's all it is. So, guys, on that note, I'm going to call it a day and go and get a cup of tea, and I'll speak to you all soon. Have a great day. Bye for now.